how long ago did you have this idea for how the winner of Curiosity would interact with the world of Godus and the other players?
Okay, so this is kind of a long story. About 3 years ago, I started to play some of the games that were being called God games, and there were things like Cityville and Farmville, and more recently things like Heyday and Clash of Clans. And I kind of got crazy and angry about it and said, these aren't God games, and this isn't, for me this is a beloved genre. And I started to think about, right, if I was going to reinvent this whole genre, how could I do it in the context of today's world? And today's world is all, for me, it's all about inventing games that use some of the amazing tech that we've got. And part of that tech is connecting people together. Well, if you can connect everybody who plays the game together concurrently and simultaneously, then you can start doing interesting things, like saying, there is one God of all gods, and that title will be held by one human being for 6 months, and then a 3-month interval. If they're good God of gods, people will want them to stick at it. If they're not good God of gods, then they're going to be thrown out. And that's really interesting. It gives me, as a gamer, something else to think about, something else that's going to mix things up. And the most terrible, awful moment is when people start getting bored with your game. And there's two types of boredom. You can get bored with, physically the physical mechanics of playing the game, or you can get bored with the concept of the game. And for me, very often, if you get bored of the concept of the game, it's like reading a book halfway through. No author wants you to stop reading a book halfway through. That is a huge failure. Neither do I want you to feel bored with the concept of Godus. So the idea that there is a human being at the center of this game is a fascinating mix to the other motivations in the game.
Do you have any contingency plan for if Brian or someone down the road is just a huge jerk?
Well, my contingency plan, like everything else, is that the world helps you sort this stuff out. The way that Brian was selected was very unique, and it was only going to happen once, and that was selected because he was the person that tapped on the last Curiosity, and we were just lucky that he was who he was. The next God of Gods that will overthrow Brian will have to go through some hoops which hopefully will weed that out. They have to form a clan of people, and that clan we call a religion. And that clan has to do so well within the rankings of the Godus players, and when they get to the top of the rank, then someone in that clan challenges Brian and the God of Gods, and so there's this natural weeding out of that. We know that this person is going to, love Godus because they're going to have to play it for quite a bit, and we also allow you, the other players, to follow and support Brian or the new God of Gods. So it's a worry. It's like everything else. It's like when one person's nation meets another person's people, are they just going to be horrible to each other, or are they going to be nice to each other? But that makes it interesting in itself.
Do you see Godus as a natural extension of what you've been going through for your entire career, essentially? Can you see a single thread evolution from game to game?
I mean, the way to answer that question really is that there was this moment after I left Lionhead and started 22 Cans where I started to remember who I was. And that's a very strange thing for me to say. And who I am is this simple. I am someone who adores and loves what he does and adores and loves the games I make, and that's who I am. And so when it came to making Godus, this is the most beloved of any game I've ever done. I've loved making Godus more than any single other title, and if that makes it the best game I've ever worked on, I think it does, then I hope that is going to make Godus a great game. And that's what we're striving to do is to make Godus great. And greatness is incredibly rare. It's an intangible, almost unreachable goal. But you've got to strive for it. You've got to, you know, if you even if you've got a chance at it, you've got to strive for it. And my solution to greatness is just to be obsessively in love with what I do.
Can you give some examples of other games that you would define as great?
I mean, you know, there are things like the Half-Life series, especially Half-Life 2. I mean, that was genius. It was pure genius. I mean, people rave about Last of Us. I think Last of Us was brilliant. But you know, predating that in emotional terms, I felt that Half-Life was great. I think the Zelda series from Nintendo is truly great. That world stays with me, whether it's the tune in my head or the feeling that I get when I played that game. The artistry of the immense, brilliant artistic talent of games like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. You know, there's many great games which, you know, are so way beyond anything else that you play that they stand out.
So what's possible at 22 Cans that was not possible at Lionhead? How is 22 Cans the right company to make Godus, this game specifically?
I think the answer is really simple for me, is that everyone at 22 Cans really, really loves what we are making. And I'm not saying people at Lionhead didn't love making Fable, but they weren't in love with making Fable. And it's very difficult when you get, you know, into the 10th anniversary of the thing that you're making to keep that passion for that freshness and the inventiveness, which you need to actually strive forward to making a game great. And so the difference is simple, is that the passion, the dedication, the devotion, and the love of the people who work at 22 Cans. And that's why there's only 22 of us, because you know, it's easier to get to look around the office and just to see everyone working on it and caring about it. And you know, Dimitri's here in the corner here, and he's not, you know, sitting back and drinking a Starbucks. He's working on the game because he's got a passion for it.
I'm going to change the rails a little bit. In the industry, I would say you're probably the consummate gentleman. But I have to say, out there in the world, a lot of people in your generation don't seem to have the same interest in video games that you do. Do you know why, or what would you say to them?
Well, I mean, I think my life begun. Well, there's an honest answer to that question. It's quite a complicated answer. You know, I was rubbish at school. I didn't get a single exam. I didn't, you know, I was just destined to fail. And if you went back to my school days and you asked anyone, you know, would Peter one day be sitting in Seattle and being interviewed, they'd all say no. And my life begun when I saw that first console. And the first console was Pong.
Yeah.
And I saw it in a shop window, and I immediately went home, and I stole money from my grandmother's purse. I went back, I bought the console, I took it apart to find out how it worked, and from that moment onwards, the world changed for me. And it's this, even when it was just two bats and a ball, I started seeing a world which I have been striving to create ever since, and it's a passionate love affair of what I do. And that's when I came out on stage at PAX. I said, you know, I love what I do.
So back to Godus for one last question, because I think we only have a little bit of time left. You're pouring your heart and soul into this game.
Yeah.
Right, everything. How that doesn't seem like a very kind of future-proofing attitude, because if you pour everything, your heart and soul into this game, are you going to be spent for the next game, for the next experiment?
I mean, this reminds me of of this interesting question, which you have as a parent. When you have your first child as a parent, they all, you utterly love that child, and you think it's impossible to love anything more than that one child. But then you have another child, and you love that child as much, if not more, than the first child. And it's not that you end up using your love up, you just multiply it, and it's just the love and the passion of what I